It will probably come as a surprise to you that I thought we might start with Todd Akin. As the news of the week has unfolded and the focus of the country has turned to this subject, I wanted to begin by reporting on a poll that I saw this morning. Senator Cornyn, you as the person who is most responsible for trying to win back Republican control of the Senate next time. A poll out by the Rasmussen Reports organization, a Republican-leaning organization, it's believed, has Senator McCaskill, as of this morning, up on Congressman Akin 48-38, a 10-point lead or a 21-point shift in this race as of the last 7 or 10 days. You were one of those who spoke out early to ask Congressman Akin to get out of that race. I want to talk less about what he said than about the implications politically. Can you win that race, Senator, and are you still hoping that Congressman Akin gets out?
Well, thanks for the question, Evan. I knew you'd come up with something interesting to start with, something provocative. But I don't believe Congressman Akin can win that race, and there's been a call across the board for him to withdraw and allow the Missouri GOP to select an alternative candidate who can win. As you know, the race for the majority in the Senate is very hotly contested nationwide. Republicans need a net of 4 seats, and that was one of the ones where I believe we had one of our greatest opportunities. But as you point out, the Rasmussen poll indicates that Congressman Akin could not win were the election held today, nor do I think that's going to change much. And so I hope he does the right thing. It hasn't been a debate between the establishment, the Tea Party, or any sort of divisions that we commonly think of now within the Republican ranks. But so I hope he does the right thing. I expect him to do so, although I can't tell you exactly when. But the mechanism, Senator, for him to get out and to be replaced has gotten infinitely more complicated. If he had gotten out on the very first day or the second day, it would have been easier for you all to replace him. You're correct, and I guess 2 days ago, he could have withdrawn by 5 o'clock, basically without any intervention by court or anyone else. Now, up to 5 weeks before the election, he could withdraw with permission of the court, but it's not like Texas, where I believe you can substitute the candidate on death or disability of the candidate. Here, it's pretty automatic. It said it shall be freely given, the permission by the court, but of course, if there's a cost to reprinting ballots or things like that, that could be a factor. Senator Coburn, Congressman Akin's position on this week has been the people of Missouri who voted in that Republican primary chose me. They didn't choose the other candidates, and if the party's leaders, GOP's leaders, want me out, they're going to be thwarting the will of the people of Missouri. Do you share that point of view?
No, I don't, because if I recall, he got about 35% of the vote. So over 2/3 of the Republicans in the state of Missouri did not vote for him. I think it's reflective of what we see in terms of careerism in Washington. The politicians are so invested in their political career that they don't see the long term and the better benefit.
Right.
And if Congressman Akin really believes in the principles that he espouses, what he'll want is a long-term success for those beliefs rather than a short-term political consequence that's going to hurt those beliefs.
So if Congressman Akin, Senator Coburn, were to call you and say, you're one of the most popular conservatives in the Senate, we want you to come to Missouri and campaign on my behalf, you will turn him down?
Absolutely.
Senator Vitter, same thing, you would turn Congressman Akin down if he asked you to come campaign?
I would, and what I think is really a shame, not just for Republicans, but for the political debate, is this is a huge distraction from the issues, from the conversation, from the debate the American people want, issues that matter, issues that American and Texas and Louisiana families talk about around their kitchen table. And quite frankly, that's why the left is so excited about it, because they need a distraction. They don't particularly want to talk about the economy and the issues American families are really focused on.
Right, Senator, to Senator Vitter's point with regard to Congressman Akin, going into the convention on Monday, we now have the country engaged in a conversation about rape and about abortion as opposed to the economy, which is not what Republicans had hoped would be the case. Is that true?
Yes, that's true. And we know this election is about jobs and the economy and about the president's, unfortunately, failed policies of the last 4 years. And we know that President Obama is finding it very difficult to run on his track record. And so that's why I agree, Senator Vitter, you tend to have more of the personal attacks and the distractions rather than to talk about those issues. And,
Right.
and we still don't know what a second Obama term would look like. It's not really laid out an alternative vision, but I'm glad we're going to have a serious debate about the real issues with Paul Ryan being selected as a vice presidential candidate, a choice that I would call a high risk, high reward. But I think the country has moved and the conversation has matured. So I think thanks to the efforts of people like Tom Coburn, who served on the Simpson-Bowles Commission, the so-called Gang of Six, the bipartisan attempt to try to come to a consensus on solutions to the nation's biggest problems, I think the American people are ready for that, and I think that's what we ought to be focusing on.
And Evan,
Yes,
let me just
Senator.
add, this distraction might continue at least for a while in Missouri. I don't think it's going to continue nationally because the major challenges American families face are so important. And I think they're going to be looking for real answers to those major challenges.
To that point, Senator Vitter, let me ask you about the larger implication of this, because I agree with you. Congressman Akin will fade as a discussion point in the national conversation, but the issue of women and the Republican Party is going to be ongoing as we get to Election Day. Over the last couple of days, there have been a number of polls out that have shown the difference between the president and Governor Romney on women. Governor Romney is behind the president in Pennsylvania on women by 24 points, in Wisconsin by 20 points, in Ohio by 19 points. Can the Republicans win this presidential election if the gap is that large between Governor Romney and President Obama on women?
If the gap is that large on election night, probably not. I'm very hopeful it's not going to be, particularly after Labor Day when all sorts of folks, men, women, focus on the key issues in their lives. I think they're going to look at what solutions are being put forward. And I think most Americans are going to see this campaign from the left to distract as just that.
Right.
And they're going to be looking from all sides, from all parties, for real, honest solutions.